I'm Boone Cutler here with Karl Monger from Gallant Few, and we've just spent the entire day at this wonderful, I don't know, more than a conference. It's more than a symposium. It's about people doing the right thing. It's about changing America. It's about changing the conversation, changing the paradigm of really some things that have created some huge wounds in our country and in our culture. And I think they've just done a fantastic job. Brian Willis, Roy Bethke have put this thing together. And when you're sitting on the outside, we're both civilians. You know, we're not police officers.
Not law enforcement.
We're not law enforcement. We were in the military, and we spent a lot of time, looking at guys and being pretty critical over training, because that's what we do all the time. But I sit back and I'm really blown away by these guys. I think they have totally changed. I think they've totally changed a lot of things because, their format is right. This is something you couldn't even conceptualize if you were just sitting back and saying, hey, how are we going to do things better? Because they didn't just do it better, they did it different, and they did it better.
Well, and they've identified that there's this blinding flash of the obvious big gulf between the civilian population and law enforcement. And they've got to take a leadership role in figuring out how to bridge that gulf. And I think this conference was a phenomenal start to it. And I hope they continue it because it will definitely make a difference in the perception and the training and the attitudes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I like the fact that they really toned down the egos. I think that's the most important thing. And they brought the presenters in that aren't projecting ego above everything else. It's about just growing things and making them better and bringing on the right kind of team without putting themselves, without anybody trying to be a superstar.
Right.
And I think that that's hard, especially in law enforcement. I know in our community, there's always somebody trying to be that top dog. So for someone to be able to put this thing together and not do that, I think it shows it's impeccable integrity.
They used the TEDx format, so 18 minutes per speaker, and they held them to those 18 minutes. And when you have to, you and I have both spoken, and when you stand up there without notes and you're not relying on a PowerPoint to walk you through your presentation, and you got to keep it within that 18 minutes, that's a challenge. And the speakers, I saw every one of the speakers today, and they all did great.
They are very, very high end, and they didn't limit the theme to law enforcement and beat cop. They expanded it. Everything from the local beat cop to crisis management communication, to the guys that worked on the Fed side and terrorism, and to be able to put a common thread of humanity through it all. I think America can really, really gain a lot from not just watching the format, but being a part of it.
Agreed.
Karl,
glad you were here.
Happy to be here. It's truly a blessing, and anything I can do to help out in the future, just really proud to be here. And thanks for, I just want to thank Brian and Roy for doing a fantastic job.
We need to give a shout out to Candace Bryant. She was a coordinator for this, always does a great job. So Candace, well done.
Candace, a shout out. There you go. Thanks for joining us.